Chapter 9. When he came down on his right shoulder. It was a hard enough landing that he felt his breath come out of him as soon as he hit the infield dirt. As baked out as that dirt was in the summer, no matter how much they watered it at Calusa, it was the same as if he'd landed in the parking lot. Brett was kneeling next to him almost right away, saying how sorry he was, asking if Hutch was okay, wanting to know where it hurt, trying to get all those things out at once, looking as if he was in more pain than Hutch was at the moment. I kept expecting you to turn and get out of the way as you made the relay, like you always do, Brett said, but you never turned around. Hutch wanted to tell him that it's pretty tough making a relay throw if you don't have the ball, but he needed to get a lot more air in his lungs before he could do that. He tried to sit up instead, hoping that would help him catch his breath faster. Mr. Cullen was there by now. Easy, Tiger, he said, kneeling next to Brett. Cody was standing behind them, staring down at Hutch, eyes wide. Let's take this nice and slow, Mr. Cullen said, putting his arm around Hutch's shoulder and gently lifting him up. You hit your head? Hutch coughed, took in some air, coughed again. No, he managed. You sure? This infield is like cement. Hutch said, I hit my shoulder. It's like my dad says, didn't get my flaps down. Somebody get an ice pack out of the kit, Mr. Cullen said, and Cody went running toward the bench like he was trying to go from first to third. Brett said, Hutch, I am so sorry, but you know we're supposed to go pedal to the metal in extreme infield. Hutch put a hand up to stop him, wincing a little, unable to help it, as he raised his arm. You did what I would have done if I were coming into second, he said. No worries, and bumped him some fist. You always get out of the way, every single time, Brett said. Well, Hutch said, there's a first time for everything. Cody came back with the ice. Hutch put the pack right on top of his shoulder where it hurt the most, thinking Mr. Cullen was right. As hard as the infield was, he was lucky he hadn't broken something. He stood up now, feeling somebody pulling him by his left arm. Darrell. Sorry, Captain, he said. Couldn't get the dang ball out of my glove. I noticed, Hutch said. Darrell said, Didn't mean to cause no accidents. No worries, Hutch said again. That, Mr. Cullen said, is about as extreme infield should get. Then he told Hutch to go take a seat on the bench and keep that ice on his shoulder, and anybody who wanted to take some extra batting practice could. He'd give each guy 3 swings until pickup time. Cody walked with Hutch to the bench. When he was sure nobody could hear them, he said, How bad is it, really? I'm fine, Hutch said. You sure, Cody said, because the way you landed, not breaking your fall? I said I'm fine, Hutch said, the words coming out with more teeth on them, sharper than he intended. Okay then, Cody said. Okay, Hutch said. They walked the rest of the way to the bench in silence. Hutch didn't say much on the ride home, the ice pack still on his shoulder. When they got to the Hesters, they ate burgers that Mr. Hester had cooked on the tiny grill in their tiny backyard. After dinner, Hutch and Cody went to Cody's bedroom in the back of the house and watched a couple of old episodes of 24 on Cody's computer. When it was time for Hutch to go home, Cody walked him outside. It felt like the temperature had dropped about 10 degrees since dinner, which, in Florida, especially in the summer, probably meant another thunderstorm was about to blow through. And right then, as if on cue, they saw a flash of lightning in the distance, heard the distant rumble of thunder. It was then that Hutch put a voice to the question that had been running through his mind, or at least part of the question. Why do you think Darrell was messing with me today? You mean calling you captain over and over again? Yeah, Hutch said. I told you last night I thought he was torqued off, Kampai, Cody said. I think this was just his way of saying it. Hutch hadn't felt much like smiling since Brett had sent him flying, but any time he heard Cody using Spanish expressions, even one word, Hutch couldn't help himself. So what do I do about it? Nothing, Cody said. Darrell's Darrell, and he ain't changing, dude. What's his problem? Hutch said. There was more lightning, getting closer. Hutch knew he'd better get a move on if he didn't want to get real wet real quick. Now Hutch saw Cody smile in the light from the sky. You really want to know? Cody said. Yeah, I do. You're too good. But he's better, Hutch said. Maybe not by enough. Hutch almost said something else, something he'd been wanting to say since practice, but he didn't. Instead, he bumped fists with Cody and headed home. He got there about a minute before the storm hit. His dad was in the living room, and before Hutch saw what was on the television, he knew, because he could see the can of beer on the small table at the end of the couch. Hutch gave a little knock on the wall, like he was asking permission to enter, saw that it was the Marlins Cubs game his dad was watching, saw that the force field was up. Hey, his dad said, shooting him a quick look, taking a sip of his beer. Hey, I'm only watching an inning or two before Law and Order. Cool. His dad wasn't Spanish, liked to say that his nationality was Florida redneck. But all the time he had spent in the sun his whole life had made him almost as dark as Hutch, almost as dark as Consuelo Valentin Hutchinson. What's the score? Hutch said. 5-4 in the third. Hutch lingered in the doorway, wanting this night to be different from all the others, wanting to be invited in, wanting to talk about baseball with his dad tonight as much as he ever had. His dad turned back around as if realizing that Hutch was still standing there. Something on your mind? Go ahead, you loser. Tell him. Nah, Hutch said. Night then, his dad said. Night. Hutch went to his bedroom, closed the door, reached under his bed, and found the brochure for the Hun School of Princeton, up in New Jersey. The brochure he'd sent away for without telling anybody, not even his mom. The Hun School of Princeton, with white buildings that looked like they belonged in the nicest parts of Palm Beach, and happy-looking students, and streams and trees like something out of another world. The famous boarding school that was supposed to have one of the best baseball programs in the whole country, as good as anything in Florida or California, even though it was in the Northeast. Hutch heard people talk all the time about how cold it could get up north in the winter. Even watched the Weather Channel sometimes so he could see the pictures when one of those big storms they called nor'easters hit. Maybe so. Hutch didn't care. It couldn't be colder than what he'd felt tonight at practice, what he was still feeling now, even on a hot Florida night. Hutch hadn't said this to Cody. He'd thought about saying it to his dad now in the living room, before he lost his nerve. But how could anything be colder than what Darrell Williams had done tonight? Holding that ball on purpose. Hutch knew he couldn't prove it. He just knew. Darrell had wanted him to get run over.